My peach may have been taken away from me, but not these Bravo checks. Now check that. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Rafael and I am here to review episode 5 of The Real Housewives who used to be on The Real Housewives of Atlanta of Dubai. We start the episode off with Caroline Brooks, who's wearing this pretty pink fringe dress, and her cousin Sean. They're meeting up at this rooftop restaurant. They're ordering drinks and food. She's letting Sean know that she's gonna open up her spa that she's been talking about this whole season and shopping around for places. She's gonna open it up soon, but she has a time span of 6 months to do it. And I wonder what happens if she goes over that 6 months. Like, can she not do it? Can she not open anything up after that? Does she have to restart the process? What happens after the 6 months? But she's also letting Sean know, like, okay, is she coming? Is she coming? Where is she? But she's not saying a name to who she's talking about, right? Sean is letting Caroline know, like, don't worry. She's gonna be here soon. She's gonna be here soon. And I'm like, okay, who are they talking about? Obviously, we know who she's talking about. Next thing you know, we see somebody walking down the hallway leading up to their table in slow motion. And I'm like, okay, who's this? Who's this? Next thing you know, we see the one and only Phaedra Parks from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. We haven't seen her since the season 9 reunion with the whole Candy and Portia situation, and we all know how that turned out. And I'm like, wow, that is really Phaedra. Like, wow, I don't think we've seen her on Bravo or the Housewives shows at all, right? Since then. I mean, she's on The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip season 2 right now as we speak. But other than that, I don't think we've ever seen her back on the show ever since, again, the whole fiasco with Candy and Portia. And I'm just like, wow, look at her. She looks so, so good. It's been years. And I'm like, wow, she looks so beautiful. Her Versace dress looks so nice. Her head wrap looks good. And already, not even 10 seconds on, and she's like, give me the tea, honey. I'm like, look at her already getting to work. So she shows up and she hugs Caroline. She hugs Sean. She sits down. So the reason why she knows anybody in Dubai, or specifically Sean and Caroline, is because I believe she was friends with Sean forever, right? She was friends with him for years. Sean introduced her to Caroline Brooks because Phaedra wanted to buy some property in Dubai. So he was just like, oh, go talk to my cousin, because I think Caroline Brooks, she's also a realtor. So she, helped Phaedra out. And is she going to be a housewife, like a friend of the show or something? Because she hangs out with them later on this episode. So maybe, is she gonna replace? I wouldn't be mad if she replaced Caroline Strawberry, honestly. Like, give her your gold coin, because you're not really doing too much. So she sits down. She's telling Caroline Brooks, are you ever gonna come back to the U.S.? Are you ever gonna come back to Boston, which is where Caroline Brooks is originally from? Caroline is just like, no, I don't think I'm ever gonna come back to Boston or the U.S. I love Dubai. And Phaedra's just like, are you sure though? But you and your cousin Sean, like, both of you are black. Are you sure that you want to stay here in Dubai? Like, is that safe? Caroline is just like, no, I'm gonna stay here in Dubai. Dubai loves black people. Like, we are treated like royalty here. And Phaedra, she was caught off guard. She was like, oh, really? And this was news to me as well, because I'm pretty sure that she mentioned something similar like this a couple of episodes ago. Because for me, sadly, all I've heard was really bad things from Dubai and their experiences with people. So this was news to me. So Caroline is just like, no, I'm staying here. So Phaedra, she continues with the questions, and she's just like, so what about the men's here? Because I kind of want to date. I'm like, look at Phaedra. Again, not even 10 minutes on screen, and she's already asking all the right questions. And then Phaedra's just like, yeah, I heard that men here, they could have multiple wives. So then Caroline, she gives us a little history lesson on, like, on that culture over there in Dubai. And she goes on to say that men, yeah, they could have multiple wives, but they have to ask their first wife first, I believe. And if she agrees, then, he could have as many wives, but he also has to accustom all of them with the same lifestyle. So if they're rich, like if his first wife is rich and she's accustomed to, this blinged out lifestyle, then the other wives also have to receive that same lifestyle. And Phaedra, again, her little comments that she kept saying underneath her breath, like, oh, I wouldn't mind that. And on top of that, she could cook and I could clean. And you know what would be so interesting for next season? If they somehow manage to cast a woman who's in this type of marriage with somebody who's married to multiple women. I don't think we've ever seen that on the Housewives franchise, or at least to my recollection. I don't think we've ever seen that. So it'll be nice to explore that on the show and see how that plays out on the show. But then again, that could also cause issues because, yeah, one woman might feel comfortable being on the show as the main housewife, but what about all the rest of them? They're going to be like, wait, no, we want our gold coins too. We want to be a part of the show as well. And then some wives, they might not want to film. So I wonder how that will play out. But Andy and Bravo, Look into that. So then Caroline Brooks, she throws a dig at her ex, and she's like, oh, well, you can have my ex-husband, Phaedra. And Phaedra's just like, wait, what? And then Caroline is just like, yeah, he's a big-time cheater. And, cheating here is legal. You could do that or whatever. There's no problem with that. She goes on to say that divorce is expensive, that you're not going to cheat on her or leave her after her spending all this time with you for all these years, and she's just going to leave empty-handed. No, she's going to leave with some money. But, Caroline Brooks, you contradict yourself, because just the first episode of the season, you said that in your last marriage, you left your husband with nothing. You didn't want any money from him. All you wanted was custody of your child. So which one is it? Did you leave with money or did you not? So then she also tells Phaedra, oh, Phaedra, do you want to come hang out with me and my friends? And Phaedra's still like, oh, really? Like, what friends are these? And then Caroline is just like, oh, like Lisa, Caroline Strawberry. I have a couple of friends. We want to go skiing at this place called Ski Dubai. And Phaedra's just like, oh, no, honey. I'm not going anywhere cold. And Caroline is just like, no, come out with us. Like, you'll hang out with us. You'll be in the mix and stuff. And, again, it was nice to see Phaedra. What does everybody else think of her? Is it okay for her to be back on these Bravo shows or on the Housewives? Would you want to see her as a friend of the show on this season or next season, or potentially a full-time housewife for next season? Or would you want to see her back on the Real Housewives of Atlanta and give Kandi the boot, because we all know that there's bad blood between them? Or do you think that no, that Phaedra, what she did to Kandi back in season 9 was just way too fucked up, and that she doesn't deserve any camera time or any type of publicity on this show? What do y'all think? Would any of you be okay with being in a marriage that consists of being married to a bunch of women and one husband? Would you be okay with that, as long as it came with this grand lifestyle and money? And you could just kind of fall back. You could be like, oh honey, I don't feel like doing anything. Go to wife number 2 over there. I'm gonna be over here watching TV. Would you be okay with that? I mean, I'm not gonna say that I Googled flights, and I'm not gonna say that there's a laptop right next to me and I'm looking at the prices, but let's just say that I looked at the prices, right? A flight to Dubai is $1,000, $1,117. That's pretty okay. It depends on when you go and stuff. But if you see me in Dubai with like 6 other women and 1 man, mind your business. Ooh, I have another idea. So let's say that 1 man is married to 7 women, right? They could expand the Housewives of Dubai and just make it into something else. Like, instead of the Housewives of Dubai, they could also go to a nearby city somewhere close to Dubai, and they could have all 7 women be the main focus of the show. Like, they could all be the 7 wives, and they could have 1 husband. That way we could see the dynamic in that. I mean, can you imagine the fights with that? Like, oh, you fucked my husband. Yeah, but you fucked him last night. No, you cheated on me for my husband. What are you talking about? We're married. Like, can you imagine that? And again, the entire cast consists of all the wives with 1 husband all together. Like, that would be interesting. So, Andy Bravo, look into that. We head over to Lisa's house, where she's in the backyard with her 3 sons and Miss Goat, the goat that Ayan gave her as a gift a couple of episodes ago, and our husband, Rich. She's telling the boys, oh, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to Miss Goat. We're all gonna have to say goodbye to Miss Goat, actually, because she's a lot to manage. We can't really handle her right now. We just don't have the time to take care of her properly right now. So we're gonna have 1 more week with Miss Goat. One of her sons, he starts crying. He's just like, no, Mom, no. Can we, instead of 1 week, can we have 1 more year? And I'm like, oh, he's so cute. If I was Lisa, I would have been like, you know what? We could keep her for 2 more years, actually. They're so adorable. And Miss Goat is so cute, too, just running around all over the place like, bah. I'm like, oh, but it was a cute little gift from Ayan, but Lisa's just like, no, it's not happening, because the goat, she always cries every other night, and she's just like, the only person that should be crying is me, and not because I'm sad. And I'm like, ooh, you freaky girl, you. So then she goes over to the side with Rich, and I'm like, oh, Rich. So they sit down, right? They sit down to talk and stuff, and he starts talking, and his British voice, and he's just like, yeah, Lisa, and I'm just like, oh, Rich. So then Lisa goes on to say, oh, well, let me tell you about what happened last night at the event, at the party, right, that Nina threw. So everything was fine between Ayan and Strawberry, right? Like, they got along, everything's fine. They cooled down their issues, right? But now the issue is between me and Caroline Strawberry. So Rich, our husband, he was just like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? What do you mean? Like, she has an issue with you. She goes on to tell him that one thing led to another. And next thing you know, Caroline Strawberry told Sergio, her husband, like, oh, I hope that she referring to Lisa, is going to suck your dick tonight. And Rich, he was shocked about it. He was just like, what? Whose dick? Lisa's just like, Sergio's dick. That's who she was referring to. And I was just so appalled by it because I'm already a married woman and I already have my married dick. So I'm not sure why she was throwing out that accusation. So then Rich is just like, you know what? Honestly, Lisa, you shouldn't really be hanging around people like that to suck your energy out like that or engaging with people who are like that. You know, she's a 50-year-old influencer. And I'm like, ooh. Now, wait a minute, Rich. So shady. I'm like, wow, she didn't have to be a 50-year-old influencer. I'm pretty sure she's like 40 something. And then we get a little bit more insight on the rules in Dubai. She goes on to say that you can't curse or shout in public in Dubai. And I'm like, wow, can you imagine if you're out shopping one day, you're at the grocery store, you're at the store, whatever, just shopping around. Next thing you know, you bump into somebody, one thing leads to another, and then you get into a fight with somebody. Then next thing you know, it escalates and you want to get into it, but you can't because the rules in Dubai are strict. And you're like in mid-sentence or in mid argument with somebody, and you're like, listen here, you little bitch. Oh, wait, hold on, we're in public. We can't fight or else we're going to get arrested. Let's go to like a private room or something and we'll finish the fight there. Yeah, let's go. Just be in mid-sentence in an argument like, no, wait a minute, we're going to get arrested. Like, that's so interesting. I could only imagine that the people in Dubai are probably pissed at this show airing and, having them like kind of just like throw out these accusations. Or I wonder how everybody in Dubai reacted to what Caroline Strawberry said about Lisa and Sergio. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were probably upset about that because that could probably be deemed as inappropriate in their eyes. Then we head over to Caroline Strawberry's house and she's in the kitchen with Sergio and they're cooking up a bunch of food and they're setting everything up because they're going to have Ion come on over to test out the waters to see on this newfound friendship between Caroline and Ion. So Ion, she shows up, they go in the backyard, right? They're talking, they're having a drink. Everything is good for now, right? I believe one of Caroline's sons, he was standing over her, right? Like just listening on the conversation. And then Ion, I'm not sure if she did it to be messy. I wouldn't put it past her though, because she was just like, Caroline, so are you going to have another child? Because Sergio, he told me that you two are going to have another child. So Caroline, she quickly was just like, stop talking. Shh, quiet. That's enough, honey. Yeah, go inside and play with your toys. Go inside. She was just like, I don't want my son to know about, us possibly having another child because he's not really too keen on it. He doesn't want another child. And I'm like, oh, no, Caroline. No. First of all, you're already walking on eggshells with your first child right here, your husband, Sergio. He's already forcing you to try to have a child. And now you're walking on eggshells for your children because you know that they don't want a child or a new child in the family. So it's just like, what's going on here? There's just way too many red flags in this family, in this marriage, because you're hiding way too many secrets. And you are obviously not making any choices that you're happy with at the end of the day. Like, everybody's making choices around you, but you have no say in it. I mean, you're trying to have a say in it, but it's just like everybody else is just shutting you down, specifically Sergio. So then Sergio's just like, yeah, we're going to have a child. We're going to have 2 babies, actually. And Caroline is just like, I'm just going to give birth to that child, and I'm just going to give it to you, and you're just going to have to take care of it with a nanny or something. And I'm like, I honestly believe that she would do something like that. And then Ion, in her confessional, she was just like, why would she do that? I mean, look at my relationship with my father, and we know her relationship with her dad was not the best one. Why would she do that? Why would you give birth to somebody or to give birth to a child and give it away like that, knowing that you don't want it? So Ion is just like, I'm not putting myself through that again. I would never want to have another child. So Sergio, he's just like, wait, why? Like, what's going on? Ion is just like, because of my vagina. It hurts a lot. It's a lot of pain. Sergio, that kind of just went right over his head, and he was just like, well, I mean, I would do anything for a child. And I'm just like, obviously, you just do not care about women's feelings in this case, right? Like, obviously, Sergio, he's just a pretty face, and that's it. There's no brains. There's nothing there. It's just like echo. And then Caroline, she's just like, yeah, I don't want to have a child. And that's always going to be her argument. And again, it's just pretty unfortunate because it seems like she's just unhappy in this whole situation. And then she also goes on to say that one of her sons, she has twins. One of her sons, that he's away in boarding school. And she also goes to say that she went to boarding school. And it kind of developed this whole, tough exterior to her, and I see it too because she has this very cold stone demeanor to her because even in her marriage with Sergio, we're already 5 episodes in. And it kind of seems like there's no no like love there. Like there's no like playfulness. There's no like, oh, I love you or anything like that. I can't even picture them cuddling without her rolling her eyes. Every time she's with Sergio, it seems like she's more like annoyed at him. And she's just kind of like, can you leave me alone? I want to be alone with my dogs. And she's okay with that. And she's telling Aya, you know, in British culture, you know, when you're rich or whatever, you grow up like that. Like you grow up very cold hearted and you grow up with no emotions like that. And I'm like, I don't know. Again, I just don't see Sergio and Caroline really lasting that long. I mean, you know, one, she has a very cold stone demeanor. She doesn't want to have a child. She's willing to give away her child to her husband. Like, who does that? And Sergio, he seems to be more like, you know, the bubbly side. Like he's more excited. And maybe the age is different is the key factor in this marriage too, because he's young. You know, he's full of life. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. And she's already been through this. She's already, you know, been there, done that, and she just kind of wants to be by herself now. So they go back to the table. They have a bunch of food. The steak or whatever that they cooked up, I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, it kind of looks good. You know, the potato looks good, but then they cut into it and I'm like, oh no, it's extra pink. Absolutely not. But they're eating, they're sitting down, and I believe they start talking. Ayan, she starts telling them about everything that happened at the party. And then they're like, wait, so what happened with you and Lisa? Like, what's going on with that? Because I don't really know what happened. Because if we all remember, Ayan, she had walked away to go look for Lisa's phone when the whole situation happened between Sergio, Lisa, and Caroline Strawberry. So then Sergio and Caroline, they started lying right away. They're like, oh, Lisa came at us. Caroline's so ridiculous. I mean, she was acting like a lion. She came at us full throttle. Like she was out of control at the party. And I'm like, where? And then they even play the flashback, and Lisa has been so calm. I mean, she's been 5 episodes in, and she's had a calm demeanor the entire time. So I'm not sure where this lion is or whatever that they're making up. I'm like, and Ayan, she's just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Lisa came at you, and Caroline is just like, yeah, she came at me for no reason, and I was just trying to be a good friend to her. So Ayan is just like, so then why didn't you come to her fashion show? Caroline goes on to say, oh, I was so busy. You know, I was so busy, and I'm like, busy doing what? Fighting off your husband? Like, what are you really busy doing, Caroline? Like, no. That's another thing. That's another red flag. At this point, she could open up her own amusement park, Six Flags, or in this case, Red Flags, because she's too busy to do anything on the show. She's too busy in her marriage. She doesn't want to have a child. What can you do, Caroline? Like, please tell us quickly. And she goes on to say, oh, I was busy, you know, but I'm trying to be a good friend. And I'm willing to look past all of this, but it's just like, you know, she has to be the one to reach out to me first. And I'm like, but then again, you're also not telling Ayan your part of the story and what you also accuse Lisa and Sergio of doing, like the whole sucking dick thing. You didn't say nothing then. So this is the perfect opportunity, but no, you wanted to paint Lisa out to be, you know, a bad person. So then Ayan, she invites both of them to her birthday party. We see Sarah and Nina both heading over to Sarah's dad's house, and Sarah, she wants to bring Nina over because Nina, she doesn't really have a lot of family that's local, or at least close enough for her to just drive to a couple of miles away the way Sarah can. Sarah, she's always lived close enough to her family to the point where she could always meet with them every Friday, because in her culture as Emiratis, they always met as a family every Friday. Nina, she can't do that. So Sarah, she wants to make her feel like she's part of her family in a way. So I'm like, okay, that's cute. So they get over to Sarah's dad's house, but before they ever even do anything, I believe Sarah, she takes like this little sage thing that has a bunch of smoke blowing out of it. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but did she just blow smoke up her vagina? She goes on to say that in her culture, she believes in smelling fresh, and you have to be fresh when coming over to somebody's house, and you have to smell good. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I understand that, and it's completely understandable. But I mean, do you have to blow smoke up, you know, that specific area right there? You couldn't blow it, you know, underneath my underarms, you know, the back of my neck, my back, something, my legs. Why do you have to do it right there? I mean, okay. So then we meet her dad. Her dad, he seemed really like a nice guy. We also meet one of her friends, Noor, and we also get a backstory of how her parents also taught her, like, oh, okay, you can follow our culture and our religion, but you could also follow the parts that you want to. You don't have to follow every single thing. Whatever you don't want to follow, you could also leave it in the past. And I just love that. I feel like her parents did a really, really good job at raising her. I mean, look at her. I know I said it many times before, and I'm just going to continue saying it, but I just love when Sarah speaks. Like, every time she talks, I'm just like, Just keep going, Sarah. Just keep talking and talking and just teaching us more about your culture and your lifestyle and your family. Just keep going like the whole episode. She goes on to share some Polaroid pictures between her and her family and how she was when she was a little girl. Nina, she's getting a little jealous because she wishes that she also has some Polaroid pictures between her and her family. But she goes on to explain that the reason why she doesn't, or she has no memories of any photos or anything of her childhood, is because back in Lebanon, when the war was going on, she had to leave all her valuables in the past and just keep it going because she didn't know what was going on day by day. So that's pretty unfortunate, but I'm glad that at least she got to experience some type of family life with Sarah. And Sarah, that was sweet enough for you to bring her along and at least, get to meet your family and stuff and your dad. And then we get to the backyard. The backyard was so nice. I mean, everything was stones and the pool was lovely. The food that they were eating, it looked good as well. The dad was barbecuing and they sat down to eat. And I believe Sarah, this is where it kind of caught me off guard, just like Ayan's story last episode when she said that she also had to marry her cousin. She goes on to say, oh yeah, Nina, by the way, did you know that my parents, they're cousins? Wait a minute, come again? I was so confused by that. And she gives a backstory of saying that they were both cousins. They were both 14 when they met and they fell in love. It wasn't like it was an arranged marriage or anything like that. They genuinely developed some type of love between each other and they've been together ever since. And Sarah, she's the result of both of their love. And I'm like, wow, I mean, Sarah, she goes on Twitter and she was explaining how this is typical in her culture. And I'm just like, well, I mean, we kind of heard this from Ayan, but still, every time I hear it, it's still shocking to hear. Then we see Ayan shopping around at the mall and she has all these shopping bags in her arms. She kicks off her shoes because they start hurting her feet. And next thing you know, she starts hopping and skipping throughout the mall. And I'm like, what is she doing? She goes on to say, oh, I feel like we should go back to the time period where we didn't really have to wear shoes anymore. We came into this world with no shoes. So why do we have to wear them? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a nice idea and all, but it's a whole different time period. Now, I mean, if you're going to be hopping and skipping on the floor barefoot, you also have to remember that there's probably dirt, infections, COVID all over the floor. There's probably spit. Like, who knows what you're stepping into? Like, that is gross. So no, Ayan, put your shoes back on. So she meets up with Lisa. Lisa finally informs her about everything that Caroline Strawberry told Lisa at the party about, sucking Sergio's dick. And Ayan, she was quick to pull a Kyle Richards. She was just like, what? Trying to be a GIF. So Lisa's like, yeah, she told me to suck his dick or whatever, and probably because she doesn't like doing it. So apparently Caroline Strawberry at some point she has stated that she does not like doing that to Sergio, and I'm like, wow, Caroline, I mean, you don't like sucking dick in a marriage either? I mean, okay, to each his own. Ayan is just like, wow, really? Well, it's funny because I actually met up with Caroline Strawberry the other night. I went over to her house and we had a nice little barbecue. It was a nice little time. I just feel like maybe me and her, we could get along to the point where she could be like my coincidence. And I'm like, you're what? And Lisa's like, your coincidence? And Ayan is just like, yeah, my coincidence. Just like my coincidence. We could be a coincidence here and there. Lisa's like, your coincidence? Why would it be a coincidence? And I'm looking at it like, yeah, why would it? But she had mixed up her words, and Lisa's like, do you mean acquaintance? And she's like, oh yeah, that's the word. Yeah, she could be my acquaintance. That was a cute little moment right there. And then she also goes on to tell Lisa that she invited them to her birthday party and that, hopefully that they could be cordial with each other. But Lisa's like, me and Caroline Strawberry, we could be cool. I want to, put all these issues in the past and move on from it. And that's that. If she comes up to me, I'm going to make out with her. I won't go down on her husband, but I'll make out with her. We head over to the Ski Dubai place at the mall, and this place is huge. It looks like an actual ski resort, from the snow to the chairlifts to the decorations. Everything about it looks so realistic, including when you breathe, you can see your actual breath, just like how you could in cold temperature. So then we see Phaedra, Caroline Brooks, and her cousin Sean. They show up, they go into the locker room to change. Caroline Brooks, she wants everybody to have matching uniforms, right, when they go skiing. But before that, we see Caroline Brooks. She tells Phaedra, I want you to know that the two people who are coming, Lisa Milan and Caroline Strawberry, yeah, they're coming along, and yeah, they're my friends. But right now, both of them, they're not getting along together, and they have some beef between each other. And I'm like, look at her trying to be the producer. Phaedra probably taught her a thing or two, and she probably whispered in her ear like, okay, this is how you make a good scene on the Housewives. You have to be A, messy, B, messy, and 3, extra messy. Lisa, she shows up. Mind you, Lisa and Caroline Strawberry, neither one of them knows that the other one is supposed to be there. So Lisa, she shows up. She's getting ready. Next thing you know, we see Caroline Strawberry. She shows up, but who does she show up with? Sergio. And I'm like, what is going on? Can we have a scene with just Caroline Strawberry for 5 seconds, Sergio? Like, do you always have to hover around her? Like, what's going on here? Are you also the friend of the show? Are you also the new housewife? Like, you need to stop. You need to stay out of women's business, like I told you last episode, and stop trying to be Samantha. Like, what is going on here? Do you also want to hold gold coins in the intro as well? Do you want a tagline? Like, I don't understand that he's always attached to her. And it's just like, Caroline Strawberry, can we see you for like 2 seconds without your husband? Like, I get it. You know, you kind of love each other or whatever, and it's probably falling apart. But, you know, like, you could leave him at home for 5 seconds. I know he seems like a 5-year-old, but I'm pretty sure that he could take care of himself and, you know, make some macaroni and cheese in the microwave or something. Like, you could leave him at home or something with some Lunchables. But no, they show up or whatever, and, you know, there's some tension already. Lisa's looking around like, wait, what's going on here? Because obviously, Caroline Brooks, she set them up. And Lisa's like, what's going on here? Like, what are you doing? Caroline Brooks is like, yeah, she's coming over. I didn't tell you. Yeah, she's coming over. We need the ratings, you know, so try to fight with her. Caroline Strawberry, she shows up. She's not wearing the uniform like everybody else is. Everybody else is being a team player. And she's like, I'm not wearing this. Like, I'm not wearing this. Like, what do I look like, you know, coming here with my clothes and then taking them off and putting somebody else's clothes on? I'm not doing that. And I'm like, Strawberry, stop being a lame. Just be a team player. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying, but it's just like, just be a team player. Lisa obviously didn't like that. And she's like, come on, just be a fucking team player and put the uniform on. Obviously, and Caroline Strawberry, she starts going at it with her. She's like, no, if you want to wear the uniform, you wear it. Leave me alone. So they started going at it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Just a second ago, Lisa, you told us that you can't be cursing and screaming in public. And what are you two doing right now? Screaming and cursing at each other in public. Don't get arrested before you go skiing. Just when they're about to go skiing, Caroline Strawberry, she drops a bomb on them and she's like, I'm not gonna go skiing. And I'm like, so then why did you show up to begin with? Like, to collect the Bravo checks or something? Like, what's going on? Like, did you want to collect the Bravo check to give to Sergio or something? Like, what is going on? Why did you even show up at all if you weren't even going to participate in the activity? You knew what it was. And then in her confessional, she's bitching and complaining, saying, oh, you know, I skied the biggest mountains already, so why would I want to ski these little baby skis at the mall? I don't do that or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but if you knew the activity to begin with, why did you come? So Caroline Strawberry, I'm going to need you to just exit stage left and leave your gold coins at the door, or just give them to Phaedra, because I'm pretty sure she'll make more use of it as a friend of the show or a housewife for next season in your place, because I'm not even sure what you signed up for. You do know that you were signing up for the Real Housewives, right? Or what did Andy trick you into signing? Because I'm not understanding why you don't want to be in any scene. You don't want to go to any event. You're always complaining or just saying that you're too good for something. I'm not understanding. If anything, just leave Stereo. Maybe he's the one that's making you miserable. But she finally meets up with Phaedra. Phaedra's like, oh, I'm from Atlanta. I'm Phaedra. And Caroline is like, oh, really? I've never been to Atlanta. Phaedra's like, yeah, you should come. Oh, is this your husband? Wow, he's so cute. He's really, really young looking. Is that your son? And Caroline is like, yeah, I like them young. And Phaedra's like, oh, I like them young too, honey. They all started skiing, or at least attempted to start skiing, because Phaedra, she looked like she was having diarrhea while she was going down the hill. I mean, she was just like, like just going down the hill. And I went skiing. I mean, I think I went skiing maybe once or twice. And every time I always felt like I was about to break my ankles because I don't know how to ski. So when I went down that huge hill and I did the little curve, I really thought all I saw was red. I'm like, it is over. My ankle is broken. My career is done as a skier, even though I don't ski. But it's a fun, cute little activity. You know, I mean, I would say, proceed with caution, but it's a cute little activity. Lisa goes on to say, well, I really thought, because just a second ago, she told Ayan that if her and Caroline Strawberry were to come face to face, she'll make out with her and she'll be cool with her. Obviously, she takes everything back and she's like, oh, I take all of that back. There's going to be no making out here or no going down on her husband, because obviously I just don't like the bitch. We finally get to Ayan's birthday party, where she's also celebrating her son's birthday as well, because his birthday is 4 hours apart from her birthday, which I thought is so cool. I'm like, wow, that is so nice. So they show up and everybody's there, right? All the wives and their husbands, well, minus Caroline Brooks and Sarah, because they're both single, but everybody else, they all show up with their spouses and everybody looks good, but mostly Lisa Milan and Caroline Strawberry, both of them look so nice in their outfits. I love that orange look that Caroline Strawberry had. Lisa Milan, beautiful. She looks like a doll. But then here comes the birthday girl, not even birthday girl, the birthday queen, Ayan. She she shows up in this beautiful outfit. I mean, it's all rhinestone and everything. She has this beautiful headpiece. Everything about the look was just so beautiful. That is exactly how you do a birthday outfit. She shows up looking like a queen. Everybody's clapping for her. She sits in the center of the table, right? They all start talking and eating and, having a good time and stuff. I love finally seeing all the husbands and all the wives together for once. I think that this is the first time actually that they were all together. I think, I could be wrong, but they were all together finally for a dinner scene. So they all start talking about all the gifts that Ayan has given them. I believe she gave Brooks lemon because, she was bitter and salty and all of that or whatever. So now she's made lemons with lemonade. So now everything's sweet between them, right? I believe she gave Lisa, she gave her a goat. And what did she give, what's her name? Caroline Strawberry? She gave her nothing. And she's like, that's the best gift that I could give her. Because I'm pretty sure if she would have gave her a gift, it probably would have been disrespectful. So they're all, having a good time. They're all celebrating her birthday. But then at the end of the table, we see Sergio, who's sitting right next to Nina. He's sitting right across from his wife, which is Caroline Strawberry. Next thing you know, Caroline Strawberry, I'm not sure who told her, like, okay, this is the perfect time to, put your husband on blast. But she's talking to Nina. And she's like, yeah, the wedding is coming soon. And I think at the wedding, I think I'm going to be sitting with his family. And I don't want to sit next to his mom. I really don't like that bitch. Yeah. Yeah. His mom. Yeah, his mom is gonna be sitting next to me. I cannot fucking stand her. I can't stand her. Yeah, I can't stand. I really hate her. You look so nice, Nina. And I'm like, what, Caroline Strawberry? What is going on here? And then Sergio, he's caught off guard. Yeah, he acts like a child. But I thought that was just so rude and very mean. I mean, you're talking about his mom. And then she goes on to say that she does not want to sit next to his family whatsoever. That she has friends from LA flying in for their wedding. And she rather sits with them. And I'm like, Caroline Strawberry, first of all, how did both of you even manage to get married? And now you having all these issues. Now, after you said I do, like, I just don't understand. Like, did both of you just walk into each other's lives blind? Like, okay, let's go get married. Is that the way it played out? Because that's the way it seems. Because you just have way too much, like, hostility towards him and his family. What did they do to you? And I get it that you said that you're British and, that's your cold demeanor and stuff. But no, that is not how you do it in a marriage. Or at least not in my world. But then Sergio, he's also trying to be like, well, I just want you to sit with my family. Like, my family, they're cool or whatever. They could be exciting. They're probably going to be the most exciting people there. Caroline, she's like, no, I'm not sitting there. I just don't want to. I want to party with my friends. I want to do stuff my way. I don't want to do what you want to do. Sergio, you could tell that he just wanted to cry. And again, it's the whole age difference because he's like, what, 28? She's 45, I believe. So he's just, he's feeling so hopeful. Like, oh, a wedding. He's so excited about it. Like, this is something he's never went through. Her, she already been there, done that, like I said earlier. So she's just like, I don't want to do this. This is like a little hobby to me. Like, I don't want to do this little activity. Let's just get this wedding thing over. And she's not as excited as she is as him. And next thing you know, she drops the bomb and she's like, I didn't want to get married. He did. And I'm like, Caroline, even Caroline Brooks was just like, where's my drink? I would have been like, waiter, can you give me like some fish or something? Quickly, because absolutely not. I just thought that was so rude and so disrespectful. This is not what I meant, Caroline Strawberry, when I said I wanted you to do something on the show. Not to destroy your marriage completely like that or, do that to Sergio. I just thought that was so mean. What do y'all think? Do y'all see where she's coming from? I feel like I can see where both of them are coming from, though, because even though Sergio in this moment, he seems like, the innocent, kid or whatever that he's getting picked on by his wife. No, at the same time, he's also a jerk because he's also trying to force his wife to have a child. And then Caroline Strawberry, she's also being a jerk to him by just saying that this whole wedding thing doesn't mean anything to her. You can at least, I'm not going to say like to fake it or anything, but at least try to muster up some type of happiness because this is your husband. Don't you want him to be happy as well? I'm pretty sure he makes you happy. He makes you happy in some way. So why not do the same thing in return? And everybody's just looking around and shocked at what she's saying and everything. She refuses to sit with them at the table and with his family at the table. She's like, no, I have my own friends. I'm not doing all that. That's that. Sergio, you could tell that he's getting a little bit more upset about it. And eventually he just kind of drops everything. And we go back to celebrating Ayan's birthday, which was the main focus to begin with. I'm like, okay, can we go back to singing happy birthday? Like over there, like, can we stop with all this marriage counseling over here? So then Ayan's son, he gets up and he makes a cute little toast to his mom. And, it must be really, really exciting to be her son and to be married to her, especially after what the husband said, like when he did his own toast, saying that they were together for 23 years and, their marriage always stays spicy because Ayan, she brings excitement to something. Like, can you imagine being around her all the time? I mean, it probably would be annoying a couple of times. But you know, she's a very exciting person, so I'm pretty sure like being with her in a marriage, she's always gonna constantly spice things up or keep you on your toes and stuff. And it's probably not it's probably unpredictable every single day. So I can only imagine how their marriage is. But they did a cute little toast to her and they celebrated her birthday, and that's that. Meanwhile, Sergio and Caroline Strawberry, you know, I don't know what to tell both of you. I just feel like both of you need to be separated from each other and not be together. And, you know, Ayan in her confessional, she was like, I give them dose. 2 years max for them to be together before they fall off. And what did I just say in my last review? I give them till next season or the following season, if the show stays on, for them to stay together, because I just don't see them, you know, really lasting. I honestly see Sergio leaving her before she decides to leave him, because I mean, like, well, Caroline Strawberry, if you're so miserable or whatever, just leave him and that's that. But I don't know. I mean, hopefully they find some type of way to fix their relationship or leave each other. And that was that, everybody. What did everybody think about this episode? And do you think that Phaedra Parks should join the Real Housewives of Dubai as a wife or a friend of the show? Or would you want to see her on the Real Housewives of Atlanta for one more go? Even after everything that happened with her, Candy, and Portia, do you think that she deserves another shot? Or do you think that that was completely fucked up and she should never be on TV again? Because obviously it seems that Andy really wants her back. It seems like he's kind of like hinting it out the world, like, okay, she's gonna be on the Ultimate Girls Trip. Okay, she's gonna be on the Housewives of Dubai. Next is gonna be Atlanta. I just see it coming. But what does everybody else think? And what does everybody think about Sergio and Caroline Strawberry's relationship or their marriage that's falling apart? Obviously, 5 episodes into the whole show. Let me know what you thought about the whole episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.